The Biden administration did not directly punish Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman after the murder of journalist Jamal Khashoggi, despite an intelligence report saying that he was directly responsible for approving his murder. And President Biden didn't hesitate to call Vladimir Putin a killer. Do you consider Mohammed bin Salman a killer?
Dana, here's what we did, and it's important. The report that you referred to, we put out in the full light of day. It's not a report that was written a couple of weeks ago. It had been sitting around for a little while, and we put it out. And that in and of itself is significant because it's not that there was anything new in the report in terms of what had previously been reported, but the fact that the government of the United States put its imprimatur on that report and on that information, including responsibility for the murder of Mr. Khashoggi, I think is in and of itself important. Second, we sanctioned a number of direct participants in the murder of Mr. Khashoggi, and maybe as significantly going forward to make sure that to the best of our ability this doesn't happen again. We put in place something we call the Khashoggi ban, which makes sure that anyone who, on behalf of a government, tries to intimidate, silence, or do harm to someone speaking out against that government, whether it's a dissident, a political opponent, or a journalist, well, we're going to make sure that that person does not set foot in the United States. And that applies not just to Saudi Arabia, it applies around the world. And so I think we've been
and I understand all of that,
at the same time. The transparency is
I understand all of that transparency,
and,
but the fact
beyond
is
the transparency, these
that you said. Sorry, the delay is a little much. Let me just get in and just say that you have been transparent, and you have been very clear about his role, the Saudi Crown Prince's role. So, is he a killer?
Here's the other fact that's very important. We have to and we do deal every day around the world with leaders of countries who do things that we find either from objectionable to abhorrent. But in terms of actually advancing our interests and advancing our values, it's important to deal with them. The Crown Prince is likely to be the leader of Saudi Arabia far into the future. We have a strong interest, for example, in working to end the war in Yemen, probably the worst humanitarian crisis in the world. That's going to take meaningful engagement by the Saudis. And doing so, and we've actually made real progress in that direction in the last couple of months, doing so is going to advance values that we hold dear in terms of protecting the lives of innocent civilians. There are, in terms of advancing human rights and progress in Saudi Arabia itself, are we better off recalibrating the relationship as we did or rupturing it? And I think that in terms of actually making a difference on the things we care about, the recalibration was very necessary, and the President's been clear about that, but rupturing the relationship actually won't help us advance our interests or values.